Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dermot. Today I would like to place our legal system into its historical perspective and explain how it is that grave robbery is part of Australian legal culture. Hence the question, lawyers or grave robbers? The miracle of life. Our conception and the gift of life given to us by our family is so unique. It is sacred to every person and every family group who have lived upon our planet. It is where trust and the natural bonds between people are born. A love for our mothers and fathers is the natural love, as is the love they give to their children. The appreciation of the creation of a living child and the gift of being born, being naturally shared between parent and child. This love between a child and a parent was given since time began and will continue into eternity. Grandparents, uncles, brothers, sisters, in-laws, cousins, nieces and nephews all share in this love of the creation of life and their family. The natural love shared between family members forms within us through our lives to shape our personalities. As we develop into children, we engage with other people who are also members of families. We share a common history and common values in regards to what is right and what is wrong. Hence we are able to adapt to and enjoy the new people with whom we meet. We make friends, fall in love, and produce more children who also fall in love, and thus the cycle of life continues. This process of living allows us as human beings to understand and develop the concept of trust. Trust allows us to love one another and to form friendships we find so important in life. Trust entwines itself into the fabric of our culture. For a healthy society to function, this culture of trust that enshrines the family unit as the fundamental building block of our society must also be allowed to participate in the shaping, making and interpreting of our laws, as this is the lifeblood of our nation. Currently, this is not the case in Australia. All of the law shaping stuff is entrusted to the lawyers. The love of each other and our need to care for one another brought us together as communities. These communities initially comprised of small tribes of hunter-gatherers that evolved into groups of cultivators and eventually into the civilizations we now inhabit. Throughout this transition of human history, we have made laws for ourselves. These laws allow us to live together in groups. They are the transfer of wisdom passed down from one generation to the next. Our laws, the rules that we have learned to live by, come from the past, are moulded in our lifetimes and passed to future generations, so as to service the needs of our communities that are formed by our families. This natural progression of law has been broken in Australia. Sprague began a long time ago when William the Conqueror defeated Harold at Hastings in 1066. William then split England amongst his henchmen and they ruled over the population, thus stifling the natural progression of law. Things got worse for Australia after maritime law, as interpreted by Queen Elizabeth I, allowed the piracy by Sir Francis Drake of the Spanish, who were plundering the gold from the South American civilizations, legal. Maritime law allowed the British Empire to develop, as it legalised plunder. It reached its zenith in Australia, where the land was declared terra nullius, and the genocide of the Aboriginal race took place. Maritime law has no place for culture or family, as it would be counterproductive to its need to be able to commit genocide upon a vulnerable population so as to occupy the land. A convict settlement was formed. Under this law, and the power structures that run Australia even to this day were set in place and have been passed down through each generation. The legal structure took shape, but because of its prison roots and the benefits obtained by its creators, the status quo has always been protected and was never able to incorporate the culture, that is the family element, into its creation of our laws. This has always been the realm of the judiciary and the parliament, and we the people and our families are not part of this realm. One only has to follow the path of the law reform process within Australia to see the cultural disconnect. Law reform, particularly where a large amount of lawyer income is involved, is always completely dominated by lawyers. In most instances, the committees are made up of only lawyers who are well funded. Any representatives from non-lawyer interests are either self-funded or are funded by government with a vested interest. Submissions from the well-resourced lawyer lobbyist always far outweigh the self-funded and underfunded representations by members of the community representing family interests. The lawyers of Australia make sure they keep the jail for themselves. Until law reform committees are run by community members with lawyers to advise, we will always be unable to incorporate the needs of our families and our cultural wisdom into the laws of Australia. This means that your family and their offspring will suffer, as the financial interests of the legal profession will always have priority over family needs. Samuel Taylor Coleridge, The Devil's Thoughts, 1799. He saw a lawyer killing a viper on a dunghill close by his own stable, and the devil smiled, for it put him in mind of Cain and his brother Abel. Two alligators are sitting by a swamp. The small one turns to the big one and says, "I don't understand how you can be so much bigger than I am. We're the same age. When we were kids, we were the same size. I just don't get it." Well, the big alligator said to the small alligator, "What have you been eating?" "Lawyers, same as you," replies the small alligator. Well, where do you catch 'em?" "Down at the law firm, on the edge of the swamp." "Here. How do you catch 'em?" "Well, I crawl under a BMW and I wait till somebody gets out. I grab 'em, I shake the shit out of 'em, and then I eat 'em." "Ah," says the big alligator, "I think I see your problem. See, when you shake the shit out of a lawyer, all you're left with is lips and a briefcase.